I don't know if y'all saw where Walmart had to issue a recall in several states because their Great Value, which is the name of the brand that Walmart makes, their Great Value shrimp was found to have radioactive isotopes in it. Whatever happened to like regular nasty? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You ever had a chip before and been like, this chip a little stale? When we were growing up, the chips would be stale. The date will have expired. They didn't rotate the inventory. And so now you weren't looking either, so then you bought it, you brought it home, you dipped it into the sauce, the knockoff sauce. And then you went to take a bite, and then nothing, the bite was not bitten. The chip was so strong, you just scraped back sauce straight into your mouth. Because the chip was powerful, the chip petrified, because it's been stale. And you're like, maybe that was a fluke, you know? All these chips in the bag, different ages, shapes, and sizes. So let me try another chip. And then, because you don't want to chip a tooth, you decide to break this one with your fingers. And you can't, because the entire bag is stale. Remember stale? I never thought I would miss regular stale. Now, food here in America is radioactive. I'm not gonna act like I know why it's radioactive. I don't know why it's radioactive. But it's radioactive because they say it's radioactive. I'm not gonna blame it on the shrimp. What were we doing near the shrimp that was radioactive? We act like radioactivity is like easy to come by. It's not. You know, there's obviously radio waves everywhere. You use a radio, you know, you use a microwave and so, but real radioactivity that sticks with you. And that's the thing too, is that these suppliers, they supply all these different stores, and sometimes by the time it gets to you, it's just a different label that's put on it. But it's from the same place, and it's the same people doing the same stuff. And Walmart's, you know, brand is Great Value. And I'm not gonna lie to you, this may make me sound pretty bougie, but I don't really like the, store's brand. I don't know, I just don't believe them. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, I don't think you do this well. It's like when you go to a diner and it's like got 96 pages on the menu, but it's not a Cheesecake Factory. So you're like, nah, only one establishment so far has been able to pull off this many pages. There's no way y'all have that much in the back. It's not possible. I drove around to park. I know that the kitchen can't be that big. How you gonna have lobster and quesadillas and you got burgers and fries, but you also have tres leches, but then you also have pad thai? Like at a certain point, y'all just making stuff up back there. Like, you got sticky rice, sushi rice, white rice, brown rice, mango sticky rice. Paella, like either the chef back there is the most talented individual that has ever lived. Either something is going on right now and we're all a part of someone's YouTube prank show and Gordon Ramsay is back there just waiting for us to tear up our stomachs by ordering things that aren't even on the same page. When you go to a diner like that, by the way, stick to one page. Because whatever you get, I treat diner food and diner food with lots of variety. Because you know when they go back there and you order the lobster pasta, they got one lobster. Like they about to have to scratch out that thing on the menu. But I feel like if you stick to one page, it's a lot like sticking to one type of alcohol. If you go full breakfast with it, you're gonna get a regular amount of sick. Hear me out, because all across America, you got these diners that got 87 pages to them, and then you're like, oh, it's too many choices, what do I do? One thing. You find one lane and you drive down it. Do you understand me? I don't want to see you go French toast and pad see ew. Y'all laughing, but people are out here wild. I went to a diner with some friends, one of these diners I'm telling you about, and it had, so on their menu, I'm not exaggerating, on their menu, they had 26 pages with pictures. Now the pictures were obviously stolen from online. They did not take any of these pictures. They hit Google Images and they printed it out and they put it next to the ... lobster pasta, right? And the other thing that, look, this is an aside thing. This actually has nothing to do with anything, but also on the menu, they had numbered everything. Like, they had numbered every order. Like, you know, like when you go to, like a restaurant and they'll have the traditional pronunciation of the dish and then they have the number. They did that, but everything was in English. And so you could just order 102 and a number 5 together. And it's like, that sounds like it'll tear up your stomach just as much. Just as much as saying, can I have the Tom Kha? Can I have the Tom Kha and the baby back ribs? But my friend was over here like, oh, it's too many choices. You can do so much. You could do barbecue. You could do Chinese. You could do, this is amazing. And I was like, no, it's the only thing open. Don't, this. And I warned him. I was like, you need to pick one. I'm telling you right now, you better pick one. Okay? One page, go right down that page, because I bet you they do that page very well. I bet you if you pick a lane in this diner right now and you're like, hey, the whole table, we're just gonna do Mexican food. We're gonna get some tacos, quesadillas. You already got the meat back there, just chop it up to it. You know, I think it'll be fine. But if you start hitting them with the around the world special, which is what one of the pages was called, I think they're gonna give you the food. I think you're gonna enjoy it. I also think you're gonna get an otherworldly type of sick. But no, he knew better. He didn't listen to me. This man got baby back ribs, spaghetti and meatballs, spaghetti and meatballs, and a matzo ball soup. Now, you know how they say that sometimes when you're driving down the highway and there's like a natural instinct to watch the wreckage of a car accident as you pass by. That was every plate they brought to him. I kept watching him this man was taking bites of baby back ribs and then sips of soup and everything. And I was like, I don't know how you feel like this is a good idea. I got 3 scrambled eggs. And I made sure to order before he could finish ordering, because I was like, keep me separate from him. I know that a bunch of sauce is going to be sloshing together. And sure enough, we leave, we get in the car, we drive for an hour. And then out of nowhere, we hear our friend, who's driving, go, ooh. This is why I got so mad, because I knew. I knew. We had 4 more hours of driving to do, and I knew for a fact that his bad decisions would affect me. I didn't know when, I didn't know exactly how, but I knew this would happen. So he goes, ooh. And it was low, it was quiet, it was to himself, but it did cut through the music. Go, And so then, look, I try not to be that friend. I try not to be the I told you so person, but I go, what? What is it? And he's like, oof, I knew he was in a bad way. He didn't want to answer me because he knew it was going to be an I told you so moment, because I did tell him so, and then I watched him eat for 42 minutes. I watched him eat stuff that I know had to be old. When do people get baby back ribs at this abandoned diner? I'm sure the cook in the back was like, what does he want? Ask him, is he sure? Ask him, is he sure? You're not gonna put somebody's death on me. I'm not gonna catch a body. He's sitting there, ooh. And I'm like, what? And he doesn't want to answer me. But I knew he was hot. I knew this is how bad off he was. Any cuisine that you eat, anything that you eat, especially when you eat a lot of it, especially when it is good, when you got something authentic, or you just got something that was seasoned right, and you eat too much of it, it has a different impression on you. It always does. Different impression. You get some good barbecue, but you eat a little bit too much of it, you get those meat sweats. You don't even know what's happening. Meat sweats are the closest I think they're the closest it'll ever come to a hot flash, because they don't even know what's happening to their body. They're just like, You ever be so hot that you blinking extra? Cause like all the cool air is over there. If you could just see it clearly, it would cool you down. You ever get so hot you sweat in your own eye? Over here, And then, there's other foods that just sit heavy. You eat too much of them and they let you know, hey, we'll never leave you. And then there's some foods that, because of the cuisine, there's a little bit extra spice in it, makes your throat a little hot, makes you burp, and just gives you a little heartburn if you overdo it. He had all three. This man was sitting there with a hot rock in his stomach. You know those stoves they put on people when they do the massage or they warm it up? He had 3 of those in his stomach, just holding it. Ooh, and I could tell this man started breathing heavy and everything. And when he brought the window down, I knew he was in trouble. I turned to our friends in the back. I was like, hey, somebody else gonna need a drive soon. Over here sweating hard, blinking hard. And I'm almost out. I'm literally almost been knocked out. Out of concern for my friend, I've almost been knocked out of I told you so, but not yet. I go, what? And he goes, I think I'm gonna wreck the car. What an insane jump. He doesn't go, I need to stop, let me pull over, I don't feel so good. This man ate off so many menus, he's like, I'm gonna kill all of y'all. I'm gonna flip this car as hard as I can until it lands right side up. And everybody in it dead. And then this man did something that to this day I have not forgiven him for. You've had it happen to you. We've all, every one of us, fallen prey to an act that, while human, needs to be corrected. Corrected beyond measure. If violence were to break out after this action, I don't know if I could hold the party responsible. Because this man who just said he's about to wreck the car leaned his head out the window, tried to get some cool air on his face, and when he leaned out the window, he thought he was slick. He wasn't sick. When he leaned out the window, he went. Just from the hip placement, you know what's happening. Just from this right here. Just that little pivot. Like a dog. Like a dog near a tree. This man leans over. You know what's terrifying? You know what shook me to my core? I heard nothing. I didn't hear a sound. The next, genuinely, when I didn't hear anything, I thought I couldn't hear. Literally, the way that this man cocked his hip, and then I heard nothing. Imagine if you saw a nuclear explosion, but then there was no boom after you. Like, I guess I'm already gone then? I must have died so fast I didn't notice. This must be how they make ghosts. This man cocked his hip. I heard nothing. I heard nothing at all until I heard my friend in the back go, "Oh!" Look, I'm not gonna act like I know how, there's a difference in the air in the car because he's opened the window and the air conditioner was blowing. It was all blowing on him. He was very hot. But I'm not gonna act like I understand why what happened went backwards first. All I know is I hear my friend go, "Oh!" and then my buddy next to him goes, like when you begin to choke. You know, like, right before somebody need that Heimlich, before they're like, I don't know why. It went backwards first. All I know is that when it hit me, my first instinct was to scream. But I held back. I held back because screaming would open my mouth. So I went, like a silent movie at a 1920s sanitarium, all right? And I'm fighting to find the button for the window. I can't find it because not only am I trying to lean away, I have closed my eyes because they started to burn. And so I'm palming the door and I'm like, I palm the door and I don't find I don't find the button to lower the window, but I do bang my head against the glass like Night at the Roxbury. And finally I feel something, and out of desperation, I just flick it, and that opens the door. The door is open, and I'm leaning out, holding the door like... And I feel like, look, I'm wearing my seatbelt. You gotta wear your seatbelt, but I do feel like I've already fallen out of the car because the sound of my friend screaming is getting fainter. It started out, oh, and now is, oh. We in the same car, why he getting further away? And then our friend driving both saved and ruined my life because he pulled me back. I slammed the door, and now we're all just inside. With him. And I gotta be honest with you, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, when he pulled me back in, I wished he had just flipped the car. I wish he had just wrecked the whole thing. But yeah, it's just, you already do your best when it comes to food. You already eat what you think is healthy, you already try. And so when you got these programs that make sure that the food is good and you end up with great value radioactive shrimp. It's absolutely unacceptable. All I'm saying is, I don't always trust the brand that the store has, because I'm like, y'all don't do this too. There's no way. I believe you do napkins, CVS. I believe y'all's napkin game is probably, y'all got the same printer and everything. Y'all got the same little bumps on the napkin. I'm with you. Once it gets to soups, I think that y'all are just guessing. If I go into Walgreens, already I'm there for drugs. I'm there because my nose is running or something like that, or I just want a bottle of water. The idea that Walgreens specifically is like, we make pasta too. Do you though? Like, it's just... That's always been unsettling, that like a place that's not, like this is just me, maybe I'm being bougie, but I want my sauce to come from a place that's like, we make sauce. That's like our whole thing. We love, as ragu, we love making sauce. We don't like anything solid around. So then when you go to a store and you see next to the ragu, is either your local store or this chain being like, we make sauce too, and it's just like that sauce. It's like, I know that it's cheaper, and I know I'm gonna buy it because it's cheaper, but I'm gonna think about how it's not ragu while I'm eating it. I used to work at a store that, this was an insane experience, but I worked at a store where we didn't know what would, like, we knew what we sold as a base, but then there would be deals that would come in, and I don't know who was doing these deals, like, out in the world, but then we get a whole shipment of stuff we had to try to sell until it was gone, hopefully. There's no way to run a business, but I remember there was one week we just got a whole shipment of fire extinguishers. And to be fair, a lot of people don't have a fire extinguisher, and a lot of people live in conditions where they should absolutely have a fire extinguisher. Sure, I'm with you there, right? But these fire extinguishers were the size of like a big gulp. You know what I mean? Like these were like mini fire extinguishers that I don't even think could put out a hot shower. We also had to sell, this one time, we just got toilet seats. And it occurred to me at one point, I was like, who shops here? Like sometimes I'd see customers in there and I'm like, you just know you need stuff and then you hope stuff is out there. Like, the idea that we got a shipment of toilet seats off of nothing, and then someone came in and was like, that's just what I did. It's like that, it does make you believe in like the law of attraction, I suppose, but like, doesn't seem like a great business model. One of the wildest things we sold at that store was condoms. But they were like store brand condoms. Do you know how much you're taking your lives into your hands? We've established condoms. You don't need a great value condom. A great value condom is how you end up with another great value customer. Oh. No, it's insane. And then when you have these radioactive shrimp, right? Talking about it like I'm familiar, but when you have radioactive shrimp, what the stores will do is they'll obviously pull everything off the shelf, and then they will go ahead and put up a note, usually on the cash register. That way they've already pulled their inventory, but if anybody bought some last week, yesterday, whatever, they could read that. It helps spread the word, you know? And then one precaution that a lot of places take is they will print out the SKU, which is like that universal number for the product, a picture of the product, and then a little paragraph explanation of what happened. And then sometimes, depending on the store, they will put that at the cashier's register so that people can read it while they're checking out. So that way, if they already bought the shrimp and took it home, they'll know to throw it away. Because the paragraph will say something to the effect of like, if you bought our product, you know, whatever, radioactive shrimp, and you have it at home right now, please throw it away, because we found that this product was not up to our quality standard. We apologize that it was ever on the shelf, and that it is radioactive. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and being a loyal customer. But that paragraph doesn't have the urgency that goes along with radioactive shrimp. Even the announcement, even the news didn't have the correct. It's radioactive shrimp. They didn't have the correct response for radioactive shrimp. To me, maybe I'm crazy. I need somebody to be walking up and down the aisle. The shrimp radioactive. Like, you need someone with some urgency. This printout is not doing it. And they know what they're doing because the toner, like the ink on the printer not even good. So you barely see the image, and then the letters are faded. So you're trying to read it, and it's like a whisper. It's like reading a whisper in real time where they're like, hey, something with the shrimp. It's radioactive isotopes. So it's just... No. We have so many people in this country looking for work, unemployed. Hire someone to be the person who announces what's been recalled. Walking up and down the store. I hope you didn't get the shrimp last week because the shrimp radioactive. You can hear that shrimp. That shrimp go... Oh, watch out, the shrimp is... I had one. I ate one just to make sure, and one of my eyes turned blue. No, you gotta get up in there. You gotta do something more than just a printout that I'm probably not gonna see, because admittedly, I'm looking at the Skittles. Need a person in there walking up and down the aisle. You might even ask for an item that's been recalled because you didn't hear the news. Sometimes that happens with vegetables even. Sometimes the spinach or the romaine will get recalled just because of what they've been exposed to, and you need a person to be walking up and down the produce aisle like, sorry, we don't have the spinach. It had that E. coli. It has... What's the E for? He had E. coli all over him, so we had to send him back. Perhaps you'll enjoy some arugula. They don't just scream, they're also helpful. I don't like to think of myself as a bigot, but when it comes to milk, I am pretty intolerant. I have a problem with milk being in my things. If I even hear milk is in a dish, I'm like, get them out of here. Sometimes there'll be milk and stuff that milk isn't normally in, and that's when I sound bad. I'm like, they're not even supposed to be here. They as in the cultures in the milk. And I don't know. I've been watching this thing happen. They say that they're going to make America healthy again, but then they're like, oh, but you could just do a bunch of wild stuff you weren't doing before that definitely runs the risk of making you sick. There are people that are like, I want to drink my raw milk. Why can't I drink my raw milk? And it's like, okay. If just you drink the milk, I think that's fine. Genuinely, if somebody wants to drink raw milk and they're drinking raw milk and they're like, dude, this is what I want, like that to me is not bad. That to me is how it should be. You want the raw milk, you drink that. It's when we like normalize the buying and selling of raw milk that we start to spread the power of raw milk to tear up your life. You think you lactose intolerant, get some of that raw milk in you. That raw milk will get in your stomach and be like, this is nice, yeah. Be like Van Halen in a hotel room, you know what I mean? Now you sitting there. Everybody told you not to drink the raw milk. They told you couldn't handle it. You're like, I'm going to handle it. Natural is the best way. I'm going to have my raw milk. And then 30 minutes later, oh. I'm sitting next to you. What? But truly, I think we don't put ourselves enough in the position of what it's like to take one of those products home that's been recalled, and maybe you don't watch the news, maybe you didn't get the notification on your phone, maybe you're trying to unplug because most news is pretty bad and the notifications on your phone keep you on your phone, which is not a happy place because of how you use your phone and how the systems on your phone affect you, how the platforms, whether it's social or it's just the way that you lose attention to anything that you're doing for the phone. And so you try to disconnect, and then you go to Walmart again and you don't happen to see the printed out paper that is very, very faint. I'm not a scientist, but I imagine that if you put radioactive shrimp in the microwave, you about to turn your kitchen into a science experiment. You over there cooking the shrimp in the microwave, just looking at the door. Anytime, I don't know what it is about us, but and then maybe I'm the only one that's experienced this, but I've known 3 different microwaves to catch on fire. And in all 3 scenarios, the person who owned that microwave, who was making something, was looking through the door like, is that fire or is that just how it cooked? Yes, all 3 were dudes, yes. And so, in that case, all 3 dudes were like, I don't know, you know, when you pop popcorn, the bag get big, I don't know. Maybe this chicken sandwich supposed to be on fire. It's like, no, it's not. It's not. You put a Chick-fil-A sandwich still in the foil right into the microwave. And so, yes, your sandwich is on fire, but that's not part of the process. You should probably open the door, put that out. Use the tongs, don't use your hand. You know what I mean? And so now you microwaved your shrimp. You're staring at the door. Why are they floating? Look, I don't know anything about radioactive shrimp, but I imagine a radioactive shrimp at least has the possibility of waking up. Imagine, you're a shrimp. You go on about your business, minding your own business, and then you get caught by some people from above. And somewhere along the line in your life, while you were down there in the water, or after you've been caught, you came across some radioactive material, not a usual part of the process. And then you end up at a facility where they bag you up with your brethren. They put great value on the bag. They send it to a local Walmart, and then you lay there in the bag. Somebody grabs the bag, somebody scans the bag, somebody bags the bag. They take you home. They open the bag into a bowl. They wash you off real quick like that's gonna do something. Everything wrong with you is on the inside. And then they throw you in the microwave because they can't cook. And you laying there. And then someone hits 3 minutes, which is too long. And you feel yourself. You open your eyes and you see a big old face. A big old face going. Is this supposed to be floating? You can't really make it out. You don't speak English or a shrimp, but someone finally has the wherewithal to press the open button on the microwave, and you fall back, and then you stand up. You stand up and walk out of the bowl. Nobody stops you. They're too busy running around screaming and praying. But something's happening. Something you've never experienced before. You're just used to swimming and crawling. But now something's happening. You have an awareness of yourself. You don't know how, you don't know why, but then you start to, out of nowhere, have these, not the word for it, what's the word for it? You've never had this before. What's the word for it? But you start to have these thoughts. You're out here really thinking. You're thinking about your entire life. What happened to you? That radioactive material you came across. And now, you decide, you know what? I'm gonna go out on my own. I'm gonna head for the door. And these great value customers are more than willing to let you leave. And you go out into the world. You start to see, hear everything. You might even have some awareness of things that you haven't even come in contact with. Maybe it's super hearing, maybe it's telekinesis, who knows? And you come across a newspaper. You read a newspaper. And you're terrified. Because with only having, an hour's worth of knowledge and understanding, you can tell that things are bad. Things are not ideal in the world. You don't know what to do about it exactly, but you end up reading an article that's of a lot of importance to you because it's about you. It's about how there are radioactive shrimp at Walmart, and you're like, that's me. What should we do about this? I know what I'll do. I'll go to Washington. Because this little bit of life that I've been given, it's important that I use it for a purpose. It's important that I do something with it. The whole purpose of life is to not just be a witness, but be a connection to another life. And so I want to connect to all these lives I'm coming in contact with. You know, I got to dodge a lot of feet to get there, but it's okay. And so you go to Washington and you decide to go to what you potentially feel is the source of the problem. People have been loosening regulations. People have been lobbying the Food and Drug Administration. They've been gutting the EPA. They've been gutting every safeguard that the people have to be able to eat food that's not radioactive. And so, for whatever reason, you decide you're on the side of the people, and so you go to a house, one specific house, and you crawl into a bowl, one singular bowl, and you let yourself be eaten by the head of Health and Human Services. And let's be clear, he notices you glowing, but and it was a sacrifice that you made, and it's a sacrifice that was very gross. There was a lot of roadkill on the plate. Then you climbed onto a bed of rice in the bowl, and then, you get slurped down, and now you're down there in RFK Jr.'s stomach. And you're surrounded by something. You don't know what it is, but after a while, because of all of this knowledge you've absorbed over your short lifetime, you realize, oh, raw milk. Ugh. And then you let yourself fall away. And it was all worth it because RFK Jr. is over here sitting at a press conference talking about how we're going to introduce more raw milk into the U.S. or, going to make sure every kid eats roadkill for breakfast or something. I don't know. I don't know what the next initiative is, but while he's sitting there, RFK Jr. goes, whew. Yo, my stomach hurts. It was the best you could do. Speaking of honeymoons ending, this Jonathan Majors. Wow. There's so much about it, so you just be patient with me. I've been waiting to even talk about it because I wanted to learn as much as I could. I'm still missing stuff. Admittedly, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to get this right. There's so much media around it. I don't even mean coverage. I mean actual media. There's a tape of him being recorded. There's CCTV of them. There's a lot going. There's body cam footage. There's a lot to distill. I felt like I was part of the jury. You know what I mean? I was like, damn, how do I stay impartial? All of this looks so bad. You know what I mean? Like, you take the CCTV alone. We don't know what happened in the car, but apparently in the car is when she scratched up his face and it's when he hurt her finger. All we see is a CCTV of him getting out the car and then her trying to get out the car, right? Because in this moment, she's discovered that he's cheating. All right? So now he's trying to get out of the car. She's trying to get out of the car. He picks her up and puts her back in the car like a toddler, right? Like he just sort of lifts her up and is like there, right? And then this man took off. He ran He ran like it was the full caution sign. That's the last time I've seen somebody have a foot that high and a head that forward. And my man was over here like, huh! Like he just fully running. And that's how you can tell he cheated too, because he running like a cheater. He running like, no, I gotta get out of here. I can't be here right now. She saw a text message, you know? And then she took off and she ran after him. And she caught up. And that shocked me. She caught up. This nigga trained for Creed 3 and she caught up in heels like it was nothing. That's crazy. I didn't know getting cheated on gave you superpowers because this dude is booking it and she right behind him, clickety-clacking it in those heels, trying to get that phone, right? And so then you just see another CCTV angle and you see him running the other way. And this time it's scarier because this time she not running. This time she's stalking him like Jason, just... And she a little drunk too, so she looked like she gonna fall. I'm like, he really didn't need to run anymore, but clearly he did. She still caught up to him. This man ran his knees off and she just over here. And then they run into like 3 random people. And then she did the thing that I think a lot of people do when they're in like the midst of like, maybe they're a little drunk, they just found out they got cheated on or something's going on in their relationship or something. So she meets these 3 people who don't know them, who do not, I cannot stress that enough, who do not seem to know them at all. And she's like, well, fuck you, I'm gonna hang out with my new friends. And then she just becomes these 3 people's problem. And then John Majors seemed to walk off, right? Seemed to just walk off into the night. So it's like that, take that video alone, right? It's hard to decide how you feel about that. Because in my mind, I'm just being honest, right? Just hear me out. In my mind, I don't know what else he should have done. Because everything he should have done happened before that night. He shouldn't have cheated. If he didn't cheat, maybe none of this would have happened. But he cheated. I'm saying in the night in question, in this moment, he runs. He's out of cardio. Like this is like she clearly should have played Apollo Creed. If she tuckered him out that easy, then you go to the next day. Because the next day is when he finds her in the closet. Yeah. This dude comes home and he finds her in the closet. And look, Jonathan Majors is too big and black to find any white woman. That's astounding. The fact that because now he's the one that called the cops. To my understanding, he's the one that called cops being like, hey, that's the only time I've seen someone call the cops, and you can hear it in his voice where he's like, I'm gonna need you to sit down. Before you send anybody, I need you to hear the full sentences I'm saying. Because this is gonna look bad, right? And then the cops come and then they lift her up and everything, and someone can correct me, I don't know what happened in this particular part. It seems like she came home and she was like maybe changing or whatever and then fell asleep in the closet because it's like a walk-in closet. I don't really know what happened there. But then you hear Jonathan talk about it in an interview that he shouldn't have done. This interview was a bad idea. I'm not saying I would have any good ideas if I was him, but I'm just saying this interview was pretty bad because they ask him, you know, how she sustained those injuries to her finger and all stuff like that. And then Jonathan Majors says, I wish to God I knew. Nigga, you were there. Like, I know you don't think you did it, but like, whatever. So then
in the interview, they're cutting between his interview and then pieces about him. They're using scenes from him in movies. And then they use a recording where he is arguing with her, right? And this is a big thing for me. This is a huge thing. And I hope it doesn't spill out into the rest of the world because a lot of celebrities do it. And I pray that we don't get to the point where we're doing it. If you need to secretly record anyone you were dating, break up with them. Please. Because this is my thing. Say what you want about her, say what you want about him. They clearly had a toxic dynamic. They had a bad dynamic from what seems like the start, right? And so for her to be recording him secretly means that she knows something's up with him. So leave, leave. And I'm not saying leave as if it's easy. I'm not saying leave as in you should just always feel safe to leave. I'm just saying you need to start coming up with an exit strategy, because then the recording is one of the worst recordings. It feels like right out of Law and Order, the recording. The recording is so damn bad. Okay, so basically, I don't really know the context of the recording. It sounds like from the recording that she came home drunk, or she was acting up drunk or something like that, which apparently in their dynamic she had been known to do, right? So there's some, I don't even know if this is true, that maybe this is hearsay, but there was some instance where, out of nowhere, one of the reasons a lot of people told him to break up with her is that she was drunk at a party one time. They had some sort of argument, and she hauled off and slapped him in front of everybody, right? In front of everybody at the party, just, and like a real, like telegraphed the whole shit. I couldn't believe he got hit. I was like, all that Creed 3, and you don't know how to box? You over here just eating shots? That's crazy. That's boxing 101. Somebody does this, you do this. I'm not even a fighter, and I know that. I'm just saying, she, whatever. I don't know what actually happened. All I know is the recording starts with him being like, listen, I'm doing a lot right now. I'm doing a lot for my people. I'm doing a lot for the culture. I am a great man. Give me a second. I think I can honestly say, in a lot of relationships I've watched, especially like just straight relationships, there is a point where a guy feels, not even saying it's right, underappreciated for being maybe even a good boyfriend or good husband, right? And they will say something to try to stick up for how they feel in the moment. They'll be like, look, I'm a great guy. Most guys are like me out there. You know, they'll say something to try to save it. And in the moment, it always doesn't. It never sounds the way it's like in your head. It sounds like it's evening the playing field. Like in your head, you're like, I can't believe you're coming down on me so hard. I'm a good boyfriend. I'm a great boyfriend. You know that? I'm such a good boyfriend. Your friends say I'm a great boyfriend to you when they don't think I can hear it, and I hear it, and I take that to the moon, and I'm using it now. That's what it sounds like in our head. What it sounds like out loud when you're in the middle of an argument is, I'm a great man. The fact that he actually said, I am a great man. And look, I don't know what it's like to date either one of them. I'm just going off of what we've seen and what I've seen that has happened, right? I don't know what it's like to date either one. I'm just saying, I can see how you're in the moment and you really think you're cooking. But it should be a sign to you that the person that you're like just going off on is saying nothing. And look, if I'm being honest with you, when I listen to that recording, I do think it's a little bit of a setup because she says nothing, right? And you can tell she a little drunk too, because the only thing you can hear is like him being like, I'm a great man, and her be like, You know what I mean? Like if you listen real close, you can hear a couple hiccups. I'm not saying that gives him the right to be over here. I'm a great man, you know, like. And look, to be fair, maybe she was just recording him because he kept telling her to be like Coretta, and she had no fucking idea what that meant. She's like, I'm a white woman that was born in the UK. I don't know how to connect these two things. Be more like Coretta. And then in the interview, he's like, look, when I said that, I wasn't comparing myself to Dr. King. I was just trying to say that these are the people I aspire to be. And so if I'm gonna get there, I need someone like her to help me get there. And I'm like, all right, but you did say Coretta. Like, you know what I mean? It'd be different if he was just like, I need you to do better. I need you to do better sounds, outside looking in, sounds completely fair. I need you to do better. I need you to do better than getting drunk at functions that I'm with that I'm trying to network. I need you to do better than slapping me in my face in front of a bunch of people. I just need you to do better. There's a huge amount of middle ground. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it would be like my girlfriend being like, listen, you do not help enough around the house. I get that you tour, I get that you have shows at night, but I need your help around the house, all right? So when you're about to go, just take the trash out with you. That's a simple thing that you can do. Just take the trash out with you. Just do a little better. She didn't say, I need you to be Malcolm X. Do you see the difference? It's also just, I don't know. The thing that really bothers me about Jonathan Majors is that he didn't make it. He made it. All this happened after he made it. And it's so hard. And like even take away for a second being a black actor. Take away for a second where he comes from. It's hard in general. This is like the NFL of drama. And he made it. And then this happens, you know? And he has nobody to blame but himself. Just like it's a lesson to all of us. If there's something that you want more than anything else, you cannot let other things get in the way of that thing, especially when they don't bring you anything good, you know? And some people made it purely about race. I don't think that Jonathan Majors is a lesson that you need to date within your own race. I think he's a lesson you need to date within your own weight class, because the optics are terrible, all right? Jonathan Majors is 34 years old. Jonathan Majors is 34. That blew my mind. He's 34. We're closer in age than I ever thought. He's 34. And he doesn't look 34. That man looked 46 from 1958. Every time I see Jonathan Majors, I'm like, he should be in sepia tone. Like, and people, and look, I want to be clear for a second. A lot of people had a weird, and I'm talking about outside of all this stuff before any of it ever happened. A lot of people had a weird hate for him that I didn't understand, and they went out of their way to call him ugly, and they went out of their way to just like go with his features and stuff like that. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying he does look like a time traveler, all right? Like if he told me he knew Dr. King personally and that he had a time machine, I'd be like, no wonder you want everybody to be like a Coretta. You know her so well.